is your part.
Sha.
Say your part.
Hello, my name is Megan Parry with Christopher Parry and Bethan Parry. Class enrollment next time.
You've got to say that we are from...
We are from Cyfarthfa Castle.
And this is a...
Craft video.
Craft along video, yeah. Today we're going to bring to you a few different craft along activities, all Christmas themed. So the first craft we are going to be doing is a pomander. Pomander is a name for something that smells and contains smell. So you can have a metal pomander, and in fact back when the plague was in full swing in Britain, people used to walk around with metallic pomanders with heavily scented insides because they believed it warded off different illnesses and viruses and things like that. But then the Victorians came along, and as ever, they popularised using pomanders to give that scent of Christmas, that warmth of citrus and clove smell. And that's what we're going to be doing. So we're going to be creating our own little pomanders. We are using very small clementines for us, just for ease and quickness of the video. You can obviously use an orange or clementine as big as you like, it doesn't matter.
I don't think we're going to make the best because the Victorians are very good at making
We'll do better than the Victorians.
Can I tell you something? So all you need is a bunch of these, enough for your whole family.
And what are these? Cloves. So one of the major things you need are cloves, whole cloves, and you're going to be studding these around your pomander, around your orange, and essentially you're going to be pushing them in. Now first and foremost, if you struggle pushing these in, or if you have got particularly young children, you might want to use a toothpick or a knitting needle or something like that to make the holes beforehand so they can then push it in. Just making it a bit easier for them. We've done this before and we've been alright pushing them in, no problems, yeah? Fine. You want to make sure that as much of the surface of the pomander is covered, but obviously the design is up to you. You can go in lines, you can do anything you want, it's up to you really, but just make sure the majority is covered.
Most of it has to be covered, it doesn't have to be all of it.
And they're spaced quite evenly apart as well, because when this starts drying out, which we'll get to in a second, it'll start shrinking, so the pomanders will start going closer together. And a really good tip is don't go up close sticking them in like that, because you'll get orange juice in the eye. And it ain't nice.
You had it before.
I've had that, yeah, definitely.
Did it hurt, Dad?
It did. So yeah, a question for you girls then. So we talked about the Victorians making popular this type of thing. What other things did the Victorians make popular that we still do for Christmas time then? Do you know?
Is that a Christmas tree?
The Christmas tree was made popular by the royal family because Queen Victoria married a German who brought over a tradition of putting a pine or an evergreen inside the house and decorating it, and then that made front page news, and when everybody saw the news they wanted to do the same. And so the Christmas tree was definitely for Britain, and British people are a Victorian creation. Any others?
I can't remember. Did they make baubles?
Baubles, yeah, for Christmas trees, yeah, definitely. Anything else?
Wreaths on the doors?
Christmas wreaths, yeah, Christmas wreaths were used. Wreaths were used all throughout the year really for different religious festivals, including Easter, but they were very much popular in the Victorian period.
Yes.
And now you pretty much only see wreaths in Christmas time, really. Christmas crackers. There were no Christmas crackers before the Victorians came along. They invented it to try and sell more sweets and confectionery during the holiday season.
Nice.
And they thought to make it a bit more of a show of it, they would cover the sweets in paper that crackled and banged, and that chemical composition in the paper evolved then into the crackers we know and enjoy every year today, really. So yeah, so I finished mine, so we'll wait for a second for these two to finish and catch up, really. Hello, we're going to interrupt that slightly for a second because when editing the film I realised that we got so into making pomanders that we forgot to tell you how to make the mixture to preserve your pomander if you wanted. Now, the pomanders were coated in whole cloves as we did, and what we are doing in that other screen is covering our pomanders in a mixture that will help preserve it for longer. Now it's up to you how much of this part you want to do or not. If you're a couple of days away from Christmas and you just want a simple craft with the kids, you can just stud the orange or clementine or whatever, put them in a bowl and leave them release the smell of Christmas. But if you want them to last a little further further, if you're doing this a few weeks before Christmas, or in general you want them to last a bit longer, then trying to preserve them is possible, and you can preserve them for quite a substantial amount of time really. And so what you're going to do is you're going to get a bowl and you're going to mix in 1 tablespoon of cloves, ground cloves, 1 tablespoon of nutmeg and 1 tablespoon of cinnamon. Then put a preservative in. Now I use sandalwood oil, which is easier to get than a few other preservatives. 4 drops of that in the mixture, mix it all around, and then you cover your pomander in that mixture. Normally you would have to add some more sandal drops or add some more depending on the size of your fruit. Generally they say to do that for each one, but it really depends on the size of the fruit you're using, to be honest. Just give it a nice coating and make sure the sandalwood oil is mixed through the powder as much as possible. And then you just leave these in a cool, dry place to then start to slowly dry out. If you see any type of rotting, then you're going to have to throw it away, unfortunately. But as you can see with ours now, these have been here for about a week and a half now, and there's no sign of any rotting, so they're going well. And then when they fully dry, which takes between 3 weeks but can take up to 12 depending on the size of your fruit, they'll be hollow, so they'll be dry to the touch and you can tap them and they'll be hollow, okay? And that's when you know they're fully dry. But make sure every day or 2 days you pick up the powder and dust it in again, just so it keeps getting a fresh coating every day or 2. And that's it. We'll get back to the normal video now. It's up to you how far you want to take this process really, but certainly when ours dry out we're going to be doing a little ribbon round them and then just put them in a little bowl next to the fireplace or something, just to get that Christmassy smell. But anyway, we're going to move on to another craft now, and another Victorian first really, so we'll clear this out of the way and come straight back to you now. So our pomander stuff is cleaned away, and now we've got another craft to do. Now for this one you will need to go to Cyfarthfa.com and click the downloadable content tab, and you will find a downloadable template for this, okay? So it's really easy, and you can do this digitally. If you haven't got a printer to print it out, you can colour on the screen and stuff like that if you want to do, because most people now can screenshot and then colour on their screens and things like that. So it's simple, straightforward.
And also
if you don't know how to do it, your kids will, trust me, these do.
Yeah, and also with that technology. I know I've already said this at the start, but please subscribe. Watch all our videos before you watch this one.
Yeah, we've got loads of crafting videos now, and you can find them all at Cyfarthfa.com under the downloadable content tab. Earlier I said the Victorians invented lots of different things that we celebrate now, Christmas time, the Christmas tree, Christmas crackers, but also the Christmas card. Now the Christmas card was not a done thing really before the Victorian period at all. But before we go on as well, why was the Victorian period called the Victorian period, guys?
Because Queen Victoria was the Queen.
So the Victorian period went from 1837 to 1901, and it's in that period that the Christmas card really took hold really. Now it didn't start out as a card that you opened up, it started out as a postcard, and what we've got here, and again I'll show you on the screen somewhere, is a colourable image of the first postcard, the first Christmas card produced and sold commercially in Britain. And what it depicts is, it depicts a family in the middle eating a meal, but then it also depicts helping people who haven't got as much of you at Christmas time, because that's really what it was about. So these Christmas cards, they're on the front, at the top they've got the to, and on the bottom they've got the from, and then obviously details on the back for however you want to use it. You can colour this in however you choose, any way, shape or form you like, and we are going to use watercolour pencils because they can give you a bit of a more vintage finish, a bit more of a watercolour wash finish. So what these are, you can get them in most craft workshops, is they're just simple pencils, but then you add a light little brush of water over it to blend the paint so it looks more paint-like at the end. So we are just going to use these, colour them in, and then do a little bit of water over the top. Simple, got it? Cool. So this card, like I said earlier, is helping the poor at Christmas time, which was a very big thing during the Victorian period, and always really. Like even if you go back to 1910 in Merthyr, St David's Church in Merthyr Tydfil in 1910 handed out over 3,000 Christmas dinners and Christmas puddings to the most poorest and needy people in Merthyr Tydfil. And yes, and they used to do that all the time. Every year they would do an annual meal for the poor in Merthyr. So we've just finished our cards, that's mine. I just finished it off with obviously a bit of a watercolour wash, a bit of water wash rather. Betsy, do you want to show yours?
It's a little still wet.
Yes, still wet there. There's Betsy's. Great. And Meg, do you want to show yours?
Yeah.
And there's Megan's. And so yeah, we've coloured in the first Christmas card commercially produced in Britain. And yeah, and now we're going to move on to our last craft. And again, you can get this template from Cyfarthfa.com underneath the downloadable content tab. And it's a really easy one. And this one is aimed for really young children, but these guys, and we're all going to do it anyway. But it's just a simple piece of paper with a poem on it. So I'll read the poem. So, these are my hands at blank years old, the ones you love to kiss and hold. And you will remember when I'm tall that once my hands were just this small. So the idea is you use paint, hand paint or whatever, to print out the baby's or the young person's hands on this. Or you do what we're going to do, which is a nice easy way of doing it, draw around your hand and then colour it in and decorate it. Then you basically write your age, your name and the date at the bottom, and then you keep that and compare it to next year's hand size and all that.
Okay.
Yeah, you up for it? There you go, So draw around your hand. I'll draw around mine. So, alright.
How can I fit my hand in?
Oh, I fit mine in. Yeah, these are designed for younger kids, but I'm sure you can fit your hand in. Betsy's hand is perfect. Do you want me to draw around it?
Yeah.
Yeah? And then you could decorate it. So they wanted to use felt tips for colouring in their hand, so we're going to use felt tips. So again, it's up to you really.
We're gonna do a rainbow hand. Yay! Yeah. For my Christmas tree.
Hey, looking very good, I like that. Remember to go outline of your hand as well. Again, if you can't print out, then do it digitally. You can do this digitally very easy as well. Just use a pen or your finger to draw around the child's hand on the screen and then colour it in on the screen and then save it as an image on the screen. So yeah, so when you're done, remember to fill in how old you are. So I am 13 years old.
Why aren't you saying it?
Um,
I'm 37 years old.
And my name
37 years old, guys!
is Chris, and today's date, we'll put today's date, which is the 20, what are we on? I think 20 something. 22nd November. Put the date, and you're done. And then basically, you're done, that's mine, and we'll see what these two little creative ones will come up with in a second. So, we'll show now. So, Megan's got a Christmas hand, as she called it. So, she's put a little dark Christmas scene with a Christmas tree in it. Brilliant. And she's 8 years old. And her name is at the bottom. Fabulous job there, Megan.
I need to do the date.
What's that? No. What are you doing? So I'm bedtime finished. She forgot how old she was. She's 6. And she started writing her name in capitals, which confused her, so she couldn't finish it. But we're there. And her design is awesome. She's got a little Christmas tree and a multi-rainbow coloured hand. So that's everything we've got for you. So what I want you to do is
choose one of them.
That was well. Is remember, go to Cyfarthfa.com, downloadable content tab. You'll find this and the postcard template for you to do either digitally or print it out. And if you want more information on the Pomanders, obviously just re-watch the video earlier and get all the tips that we laid out.
Bye!
And that's it. So yeah, thank you very much for watching, and we hope you have a Merry Christmas, innit?
Merry Christmas! Merry Christmas!
Merry Christmas!
Merry Christmas!